Hello everyone, this is a video on how to play RCO 6s for Yankee volleyball tournaments. Assumptions: I'm going to assume you already know how to play organized volleyball and you're familiar with the concept of stacking. So just rules and guidelines. We do follow nearly all of USAV rules, with probably the exception of 2.2, which is attached below, and that rule is when the ball is played more than once by a team, a male player shall make at least one of the contacts. Contact of the ball during blocking shall not constitute playing the ball. There is no requirement for a female player to contact the ball regardless of the number of hits by team. It's just basically standard volleyball. Men are typically the setter. Women are allowed to be the primary setter, but she's considered a libero, and that just implies that she can only bump set. All men, regardless of position in the rotations, are considered back row. This implies that back row attacks are okay and he cannot block. Setter dumps are allowed as long as at the moment of contact of the ball by the hands of the setter, they are below the hands of the net. Jump setting is also allowed. And then just to help simplify things, it's typically easier to remind the woman who just served to go up to block. And then if your setter does decide to set a woman who is considered back row, when she goes to contact the ball, it has to be below the net. Positions, um, standard positions, quote unquote, of setter, outside hitters, middle blockers, and opposite. Um, Specifically towards the opposite, it's kind of weird that the setter and opposite are not truly opposite to each other. Setters typically set from the middle, so the offense heavily relies on the pins. That's the outside and the opposite. And there is a slight advantage to having a middle blocker, mainly because it's a slight adjustment to have both pins crash to the middle and block. And you have to remember that the setter cannot block, and in this case, the setter is a man, and he has to get out of the way. There'll be two rotations, I think two or three, where there is only one up woman hitter, and here up means that she can attack the ball above the net. And just to simplify stacking, everything will be relative to the setter and simplest stacking option possible. In this presentation, circles are going to be tagged with WH or MH. WH stands for woman hitter, MH stands for man hitter, and then they're also going to be tagged with one or two just to avoid confusion in stacking, defense, and offense. No shortened position names such as OH, MB, or OPPO. And then there isn't really an offensive name to this. It's just kind of a weird modification of 5-1. And then this assumes that only 6 players and no libero. This is what base defense looks like. Setter in the middle, 2 pins on the left side and right side. This is the standard base, and it's kind of the easiest one to understand for new RCO players. Um, just as a reminder that you do have a back row hitter option that can either be the C or D ball. Some of you may know it as the red, and then the pipe and the BIC are also available. BIC in this case, and if you don't know what BIC means, it's a back row quick. In this example, WH specific, see specifically, this WH just served, so she cannot hit the ball above the net. And then to help compensate with that, our WH here should be able to hit the D or C ball. Again, you may know it as a red. And this kind of just helps with the balanced offense in the left, middle, and right side of the net. And just adjust accordingly, whoever's in the back row, just adjust accordingly to your defensive and offensive capabilities. And in this scenario, we're going to pass first. This is what rotation looks like with no stacking. Like in the base, we already have our WH1 and WH2 to the pins, set in the middle. No serve receive stack here. we're almost in base. Again, just adjust your team strength in terms of your players in the back row. Okay, the next scenario, we win the point, so we get the serve, and that allows us to go to rotation two. Rotation two, this is what looks like with no stacking. And going into rotation two, that means that WH2 is gonna serve, and this is the first rotation where there is only one up hitter. We're gonna stack now. Our MH1 is gonna drop back towards the 10-foot line. WH1 is gonna push towards the net, towards the left sideline, and then setter is gonna move towards the setter's area. And in this rotation, this is kind of mainly for WH1, so she has an easier time transitioning to hit. Next scenario, we lose a point in rotation 2, and then we win a point, and that means that we are allowed to go to rotation 3. This is what rotation 3 looks like without any stacking, and then in this rotation, the setter will be the one going to serve. We're going to stack now. There's a setter going towards zone 2. Our WH1 is going to push towards the net, slightly towards the right sideline. Our WH2 is going to effectively replace the spot that the setter left. She still has to remain to the left of the setter. Our MH2 is going to replace the spot that WH2 left. And then WH3 is going to drop back to zone 5, but she still has to remain in front of MH2. Scenario, we lost a point in rotation 3, but then we win a point, so that allows us to go to rotation 4. This is what rotation 4 looks like without any stacking. WH1 will be the one serving here, and this is the second rotation, I believe, where you're going to only have one WH hitter, and in this case it is WH3. We're going to stack now, and this is probably the most trickiest one that your team is going to have to learn. So in this case, our setter is going to push towards zone 2 and zone 3. WH3 is going to push towards the net. WH2 is going to move to zone 6, slightly deeper into the court. MH2 is going to replace her spot, and he still remains in front of WH2. Next scenario, we lost a point in rotation 4, then we win a point, and that allows us to go to rotation 5. I'm going into rotation 5, MH1 will be the server. We're going to stack now. Our setter is going to push towards zone 4. He still has to remain behind WH2. That means WH2 has to push towards the net a little bit. WH1 is going to replace the spot that the setter left in zone 5. MH1 is going to replace the spot that WH1 left. Then WH3 is going to replace the spot that MH1 left, but she has to remain in front of MH1. And it should look familiar because this is just a mirrored version of rotation 3. Scenario, we lost a point in rotation 5, then we win a point that allows us to go to rotation 6. This is what rotation 6 looks like without any stacking. And in this rotation, WH3 will be the one serving. We're going to stack now. Our setter is going to push towards zone 3, slightly towards WH2. And that's what it looks like. The WH2 and the setter are going to stack in the middle. And that's how you serve, receive, and play RCO 6s for Yankee Volleyball. Good luck and have fun at your first RCO 6s tournament.